Steven, you know how
You got another weirdie for me, is what you're
I got a
telling me?
weirdie for you, Steven. I'm just, you know how I am? I'm just like, here I am treading just the weird waters of life, just learning things that I shouldn't know. And I'm blessing you with this knowledge. But this week, this isn't as weird. It's not as dark as the previous ones, but it is weird, Steven, because it's something I've never heard of. And it's a story that I feel like everyone should know. Like, whether or not there's any actual truth to it. The fact that it's a story that exists and has
It's
been
something that someone has tried to snake oil sell as real. So
100%, 100%, even if it is a completely fabricated tale, it's pretty fantastic. And the fact that I've never heard it just blows my mind, right? So, Stephen, what do you know? What do you know of the great American legend Bigfoot?
bro, it's probably what I would say most of America knows. I'm not a super Bigfoot enthusiast,
Right.
but I I view Bigfoot as, our cryptid, lives in the woods, hominid of some sort, possibly the missing link between man and monkey.
Could be.
So elusive, might even have burial things like where it hides the bones of its fallen, things of that nature.
All right.
Harry and the Hendersons, they're really camouflaged at the end of Harry and the Hendersons. I
Yes,
couldn't
that was
see them
very
at
cool
first,
by
but
the way.
they were there.
Stephen, okay, so as far as evidence is concerned, right, or like interactions are concerned, what kind of things do you imagine people have experienced, like that you've seen?
I imagine most, if there is an actual interaction with Bigfoot, that it is probably not super violent. It seems to be like I've heard of one where someone was like a rock was thrown at him, like from like up a hill in
Uh-huh.
Oregon or something
Right.
like that. Um, and then like where they typically just look at us. They're like watching us, like they're just like interested in us type thing.
As a, yeah, yeah, like
Not
Jake,
like something like the
the Jake
Jersey
Goodall
Devil.
situation, yeah. What I see most of the time, right, are everyone's familiar with the blurry pics. Everyone
Hmm.
knows those. Everyone knows like, oh, big footprints, whether or not they're faked, but you can find footprints of Bigfoot because he has traditionally huge feet. And I've also read about some of those interactions where people like have rocks thrown at them, or maybe like something like they hear
Trees
someone
shaking or something like that.
speaking, that sort of
Like
thing.
basically like aggressive, not aggressive. Like, hey, don't come any closer. Get away from me. I'm not trying to eat you, but I'm not a polar bear, but
So what I had never imagined, Stephen, is an abduction, a Bigfoot abduction. Like as if a Sasquatch captures someone and is like, "I'm gonna show you my ways, sir. Like sit down and let me
oh
tell you
my
everything
gosh.
in my life."
There's
Okay,
someone basically saw how successful the alien abduction stories were. It was like, it'd be even better is if I got abducted
if
by
I
a
got abducted.
Bigfoot.
But okay, so in 1924, okay,
Ooh,
this
it's a
man,
good time. It's a good time to lie. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
oh,
19
100%
between the
best time.
years of like 0 and like 1990, those were great years to lie. They're the
Great
best
line.
years.
So this man, Albert Osman, was out in the woods. He's someone who would go venturing out all the time, like either prospecting or just vacationing out in the woods. He was, someone who would love to camp and that sort of thing. He always had his gun and his various supplies. He slept in a sleeping bag. He was known for being like super careful about everything. So he'd even sleep with his boots on in case some kind of like a bear came or something. If he
He
had to
was
like
ready.
He's like, I'm ready to go. He's like, I sleep in my back with my boots on, with my gun. I am ready. This man, Albert Osman, in 1924 in Canada, he's sleeping in the woods, and he's awakened by the feeling of being lifted from the ground and thrown into something, or over something, because apparently it was like a Bigfoot shoulder. Now he was stuck in his sleeping bag supposedly for an undetermined amount of time. He said it felt like hours. He couldn't tell. It was in the middle of the night and he was groggy and there's something carrying him up a cliff, like going through, the whole forest or whatever. Stephen, he says he's thrown onto some sort of plateau and he kind of finagles his way out of this sleeping bag, dude. And what he sees are four ape like creatures that are the tallest one. It said that he said there were four of them. Two of them were male and two of them were female, and there was an older male and like an adult male and like an elderly male, and then there was like a child and like a younger female, or like a
So like
female, like
we're
a
talking like
husband wife
a husband and
uh,
wife and child with a father
with a
from
father. Yeah,
one of the two.
yes,
One
exactly.
of the two's father.
So, Stephen, he says they fed him like this sweet grass, and like the female one would like wash the grass, and they would feed it to him, and they weren't violent, but they also were kind of just keeping him captive. Like they were just like,
You
like
can't leave,
you can't
but
like they were like
it's
gesturing
peaceful if you choose to
if you
stay.
choose to stay. As long as you're here, we're gonna Stockholm the hell out of you right now.
Yeah.
Um, but Stephen, he's
Pause real quick. If I was in that situation and it was 100% true, I would kind of just accept my fate. Like, I
yeah,
should be dead right now. I'm not dead. I am the Tarzan of Bigfoot. Like
100%. I'm their best friend.
this
Not
is
about
Kurt.
your
I'm gonna nickname this guy Kerchak. And that's just what's
Wait,
gonna
you know the
happen.
funniest thing about that, Steven? You become Alf. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, because they're the family. You're the alien. You're
yeah.
just like, I'm here. I'm gonna pet cats, and they're like,
I
no.
would teach him how to build fires. I would not that I know how. Actually, you actually grabbed the wrong human.
You
I can
totally
show you
got
how to
wrong.
draw if you have
I'll show you how to
pencils.
draw and complain. Oh man, do you guys have AC? Because you're gonna hear a lot of complaining from me.
I teach Bigfoots how to storyboard. It was my greatest gift to their.
Let me introduce you to something called a shoe because it's gonna change your game.
We're gonna
Okay.
need to find Shaq's house. We're gonna need to rob his shoe collection because I think they might fit the little one. I'm not sure about you, Grandpa, but
Imagine it just becomes like Space Jam, but instead of finding like Jordan short, you just have to find like Shaq shoes from the big.
Gotta get them size 22s or whatever Shaq wears.
Dude, so this man is stuck there supposedly for like 6 days. He lives with these, like Jane Goodall-esque situation where he's like studying these Bigfoots, like big feet, while they're studying him, like they're, watching him. He's doing all this stuff. And he kind of says like he tried to leave, but the male would kind of get not aggressive, but like forceful enough for him to be like, I understand I'm not
He's not hurting him, but he's not letting him go past him. Like
yeah.
it's. Mhm.
So dude, so this man
And
says
that Bigfoot was like because of the implication.
the implication.
He's not even going to try to leave because of the implication.
So
But if he wanted to leave, we would let him. We would let him leave if he wanted to, but he won't. He doesn't want to because of the implication.
so Dennis doesn't let him leave.
Dennis the Bigfoot does not let him leave.
Does not let him leave. So this man realizes he's like, okay, I have to find a way out of here, and I don't want to shoot these things because they're not like attacking me. I don't know what these are. It feels weird, and also, I'm. This is my conjecture, but also I was thinking like. These are large creatures. If he shoots
Mhm.
one and isn't able to kill it or shoot the other ones fast enough, they're gonna rip
He's,
him apart.
I mean, he's done.
He's done.
If big feet are as big as they say, I imagine it's going to have like a grizzly effect where, I mean, your bullet might not even pierce the hide,
Who
too.
knows?
Like, I mean,
Right?
there's a lot of factors in play here.
It's very true. Yeah, you could just be like hulked by him. I don't want
Mhm.
to be hulked by a Bigfoot. I'm sorry. So what he does though, which is it's pretty smart. He takes his tin of tobacco, like chewing tobacco, and he like eats some, and the Bigfoot gets curious and he gives it to him. And of course he thinks it's like food, so he starts eating it and he
Gets
starts
sick.
getting sick. And as he gets sick, he gets distracted by the sickness, and the man takes off.
Bolts.
He just bolts and he gets away. Now, Stephen, I've read a lot of these stories, right? And a lot of these stories happen where someone disappears, so and they come back like four or 5 days later, or whatever it is, a couple weeks later, and they're like, "I was abducted by an alien," and
Hmm.
they tell their story to the world, and the world's like, "Oh man, isn't that convenient? You disappeared, now you're famous suddenly." This man in 1924 disappears for 6 days. Apparently has this like interaction with Big Feet, and comes back, and he's terrified to tell anyone. He literally doesn't say a word for 30 years, Stephen.
Which does bring, well, that might take the validity, but I was going to say, if it was true to begin with,
It goes,
that does add some validity to it. But then again, why does he say it 30 years later?
but well, that's what I part of what I think, and I'm not saying this is a true story. I'm just saying it's
Mhm.
interesting because
Let,
I feel like
us put the benefit of the doubt. Let's just
yeah, if we're just playing with it,
explore this. Let's explore this little.
well, I think it's a situation where it's 1924. He's a man's man who like goes out in
Mm,
the woods and is hunting and stuff. he doesn't want to become crazy old Pete who's afraid of like, furry Dennis, like he doesn't
Yeah.
like, oh, you're afraid of Harry Dennis. Like, yeah, we've heard tales of Harry Dennis, like he doesn't want that situation. He wants to be, like his prospector Pete self or whatever he is. So I imagine like, he had his reputation to protect. He had like just in general didn't want people to generally disbelieve him because also, what if he can't prove it? That's the scary. It's one of the scariest things in the world. I've said it before on our podcast where like if I see a UFO, I know I can tell you, I know I can tell KT, I know I can tell Atlas, obviously, and like a couple people, the most people, I will tell everyone. First of all, I will. But I know most people are going to just call me crazy. Most people aren't going to believe me. Most people are going to say, whatever. And like,
It's
yeah,
true.
it's true. But that's just how it is. Like, I wonder if that was the situation where he's like, I have a couple people who are going to believe me. Most people are just going to dismiss it, call me crazy, define me as one thing or another. It's not really worth it. I had this experience. What am I going to do with it? I can't let it shape my
Mm.
entire life. I have to move forward. And I feel like that's most of us with most things, really. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
do I live in this forever or do I move forward?
I
And
just got to kind of start the next chapter of the book. I mean, that is definitely a chapter end, right? I mean, we
yeah,
just need to just move on. Like we
yeah.
can't live here unless we can prove it. Dennis
So,
Bigfoot was a problem,
was a
though.
problem for sure. So this man, yeah, so this man 30 years later tells this story because he was introduced to someone else who was also had
So
some
felt
sort of
comfortable.
like yeah, it's like some interaction and I think they were interviewed by like the Province newspaper and it came out in like 1940 or I forget what it was, 50 or something. But dude, isn't that crazy? Like a
That is
big
so but I gotta be honest, like I mean, I guess the 1920s were a different time. I mean, not a much better time than now, though, if I'm honest. If we're going back to granted, that would have been
weird.
right before the stock market crash, but after the Great War and the pandemic. But, um, if I was kidnapped by a Bigfoot and they were feeding me and giving me water, like I said, man, I would, I would just become their Tarzan, bro. Like I would just
I think you have
this
to.
is my life now. Like my life is going to be so much more interesting for the rest of it now. I'm going to be the first human being that dies as a Bigfoot. That's
Oh,
crazy.
100%. My
That's
name is
crazy.
like,
Yeah. Like, dude,
that's
they
who I
give me some cool ass clothing. They let my hair, like, get to the point like, where it's at now, basically.
am.
Um, but like, I don't know. I don't think I would try to escape personally. I mean, I guess if I felt scared, but they didn't like the way he describes it in his story. It sounds like they were like, "Hey, bro, you just can't leave. That's like the one rule. Like that's it."
Like, okay, if I didn't have a family to come back
Yeah,
to,
I
if
mean,
I
I
was
would miss
like,
Tina and the kids,
yeah, like
but
that's the thing. Like, if I didn't have a family to come back to, 100%, dude. If
mm,
aliens abducted me, I'd be like, I'm Buck Rogers or whatever. Like,
I'm your Star Lord.
yeah, I'm Star
You,
Lord now. Like,
yep.
I'm gonna live I'm here. Everyone's gonna
You
hate
and
me.
I are gonna have this super emotional moment later where you save your own, well, you save me to and kill yourself, and I'm gonna call you Mary Poppins. It's gonna be beautiful. Okay.
It's gonna be the best. But dude, I don't know. I agree though. Like, I feel like I would have stayed there as long as possible. Honestly, like, just like.
Yeah, like at least find a way to collect some sort of evidence, right?
I
Like I think,
know. And that's the thing that always kills me about all of these sort of stories, right? Like there's never any evidence. But here's the thing, there's no evidence of UFOs or aliens or big feet at all. And now, people could say like, oh, like the United States military like revealed all this stuff. They didn't. They revealed information about
unidentified crafts,
unidentified aerial
which
phenomena.
are more than likely our own crafts that we just
They're
don't
either our
want
own
to,
crafts that they
yeah,
don't want to disclose yet, or they're just like other crafts from
other
countries
countries.
they
Yeah,
don't want to admit or making it into our airspace because then it makes us
yeah,
most of history is just the governments of various countries lying to everyone. Like
yeah.
Russia, if you look into it, Russia has all these documents about like, oh yeah, no, psychic phenomena is totally real. We can like we can break people's brains with our minds. None of that's real. It's all just like them leaking things out, so we're terrified and don't want to mess with them because they can blow our brains up with their minds. And so I'm just like, why is it? There's never any evidence, and anytime anyone like has access to something like that, they're never like, I got one. And then,
Yeah.
like,
It's
I
just,
think it,
yeah.
I
Like,
just
dude, I would have ripped a little bit of fur off because I feel like fur of all things is the thing that would come
yeah,
back as no other animal having this
at the very least,
distinct hair. you
And
know?
like, of course, it's 30 years later. So are they migratory? Did they die? Are they gone? Did they leave because they know that they would, their spot has been taken? Like, it's just like, had he told someone when it happened, they could have gone up there. And sure, he probably would have been like, this is where they were. I know they're no longer here, but obviously they left because they felt threatened. But still, I'd like that closure, Steven. I
For
need it.
sure.
Like, if you're out there right now and you interact with big feats,
Ooh, drop a line to your
please,
boy.
yeah, please let us know. Please
I
let us
do think about it sometimes though, like, cause like the part of me that like the part of me that tells the skeptic to shut up and just
Right.
enjoy life and
Yeah.
imagine these magical things as being possible. Um, like I think about like when I'm driving on the interstate and like how long it takes me to get to Georgia or somewhere like hours, right?
Right.
And to know that there are forests, especially on the west, in the west and stuff like that, that
Yep.
really do get to the point where like you could probably drive for hours through them if there were a road. Like there
It's
might be something deep in there. Who actually gets to explore that, you know? And then like you think about even like right now, like I mentioned it before when we talked about big feet, and it was like drones. Like drones are gonna have to pick up something. But then again, I think like unless our military sending drones into the woods with these high powered,
right. Then
secret expensive drones, it still isn't really a viable way to locate one at the moment. So, like, I don't know. I mean, of course it's possible. I feel like, I think about how common a raccoon is and how little I see raccoons. Even though I
right.
do see raccoons,
Yeah.
I only see them maybe once every couple of years or something like that,
Right.
and like I do apply that logic to something that would have a smaller number, maybe. I will say this right here and now. I know for a fact that Loch Ness Monster is absolutely fabricated just because Lake Michigan decided to do it too. And it's just like this whole, it's just a very commercial early America, like, and yeah, I don't believe in Loch Ness Monster. I believe like in some senses it would have been possible because of like maybe something freezing in the ice or something like that. But I do believe Bigfoot, like those like mountain apes and stuff like the abominable
Very
snowman,
possible. Yeah.
yeah, Yetis, like. But then again, I think about Yeti. Sorry to keep going deeper and deeper into this, but
No, let's do it.
like, dude, imagine you're like one of two dudes
Oh, yeah.
in Siberia or somewhere far north.
I'm with you. I'm going.
Okay, and like a
There.
polar bear rips apart your friend. The thing
Yeah.
stands on its hind legs.
Yeah.
You're terrified. Maybe you're high on peyote. You
Right.
don't know. Like, if I saw, because polar bears are like 12 feet tall when they stand up. Like,
Yeah.
that's a Yeti, bro. Like, that's what
Oh,
that
shit.
is. The freaking Wampa from Star Wars attacked my
It-
friend and I
yep.
ran.
Yep. Especially if you only see it like from behind or from, like
And
it's
maybe that's true for Bigfoots. Maybe it's grizzlies. Like they're
maybe
standing
that's
up
what it
on
is.
their
Yep.
hind legs somewhere and someone sees it and they think that's what it is. And I
It's very
mean,
possible.
it's got to be something like that.
I mean, it's all very possible. I do like. I just want answers to something. I feel like
Yes.
life is just full of all of these like answerable questions that we don't have the resources to come to the conclusions with. I'm just like, I want to know. I want to know all these things. But all we get are these fun stories. So I'm happy to learn them. And
Like it'd be so crazy if like you like joined like some sort of high like CIA, something like that. Like for some reason you or I just has this unbelievable skill that no one else in the CIA has. So they're like, we have to have this guy. It's this very specific skill. No one else has it. It's useless, but it's useful. And then they're like, okay, vampires are real. They're not they're not like Dracula, but
right.
they do kind of kill people, but we kind of got this arrangement just like we do with other countries and things
Right.
like that'd be so crazy. Like if like the things that like that go bump in the night just are all true, just in a very like down to earth way that we just don't think about. And
Well, Stephen, like, like when you mentioned raccoons, it made me think also, how often are we going outside at night and looking around, right? Like,
hmm
not just like getting in your car and driving and getting out of your car and going home, but like looking around, like actually looking around. How often? Not very often anymore. Like sometimes, not often. You
not
take out the
often
trash,
enough.
maybe you look at the stars and go like, oh man, it's been a while. It's been a while since I looked
since
at
I've
the
since I've
stars.
done this.
Yeah, like seriously, it's better,
No,
right? But then also just generally speaking, what if What if the reason we have all these technologies and these distractions and all this sort of stuff is to literally keep us not looking around because they're sick of hiding and they're like, fuck it, we're
We're
taking
just
over.
gonna give them all this stuff. Aliens, vampires, and Bigfoots got together in a lab. They're like, okay, what can we develop to keep these things away from us?
I
Dude,
I
like
love I love the idea that like the Illuminati is actually just a bunch of cryptids.
it's just a bunch of cryptids working like around the clock to keep us busy. Like there are some tragic moments that we can't bring up that happened throughout history that they caused too.
Oh, they did. They're the
The big
worst.
feet, the aliens. But just what you were saying about like going out at night and actually looking,
Yeah.
dude, apply that same logic to the people that do look. Think about how many people you know go out fishing
Oh yeah.
knowing that there's fish in the water and don't catch a fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like,
That's a perfect example.
you
Yeah.
know, because
I mean,
like, I
that's
mean,
always
I've
it's always
I've
a
gone
sample
fishing plenty of
size.
times where you don't even hook something, you know,
Yeah.
and you
And
know there's thousands of fish in the water, you know.
yeah, and I mean, and that's the logic I would that most people would use, and that like I totally would understand as for like an argument of why there are probably other, intelligent beings in the universe. I get that. It's a
Yeah.
tiny sample size. We don't know, like whether or not anyone's ever found us is a completely different thing, or whether or not, Stephen, we could literally be vibrating on a different like material frequency than people from other stars because the age of the various stars and the like resonance that that star is putting out that creates matter in a certain
Hmm.
like it's just so interesting that we
Well,
can
even to that degree too, like everything that we see or think exists could just be the vibes of our own frequency, and like everyone just like everything that like is projected from a frequency is what that thing sees and processes and absorbs, and I don't know. There's like I have a feeling like in the years to come, like space isn't going to be this like crazy thing that we dive deep into. It's going to be something like what you're talking about with like layers of like
like we
reality.
discover layers of our perception basically.
Yes.
It's
Like
like
I don't like I think yeah. I almost feel like sometimes space feels like the giant sandbox of a game where the walls are you're not supposed to go to the places that you can actually see
right.
further. They're just there to create a sense of
Yeah.
distance.
So recently scientists discovered, right, that you can see objective futures in
Hmm.
reality. So like they discovered that like if a rock is never going to change, you can literally see what it's going to look like in a billion years, like no matter what. So like when you look forward in space, you're seeing space and time.
Hmm.
So you can objectively see what that thing is going to look like in a million years. And they discovered that each of the planets in our solar system are actually the same planet as it's being affected by the sun. So Mercury is just the early version of Earth that was, inside of, closer to the sun, being burned and such. And then, Venus was a little bit further away, closer to forming gases and water and such. And then, of course, we have Earth where we are now, so where they,
Damn.
and then
So our destiny is Pluto?
so, well,
Like
our destiny is to be engulfed by the sun and become Mars, and that's why it looks all destitute. But it's very similar looking to Earth and very, ashy and well, very sand
hmm.
covered and dune. And
Something
that's why they
happened.
discover ancient, like pathways that look as if they were tunnels of water because it's just all the various water from Earth that no longer exists. I mean, none of that's true, but it sounds
But
like
it's
something
pretty crazy. Like, what
that
if like
would
everything's
be
just
true.
like we're just Matthew McConaughey, just no, just like
Yeah, yeah.
looking at Venus, like don't just stop, don't create
No,
us, don't
no, it's
become
just
what we
but
become.
I love all like the fun pseudoscience
Dude,
stuff.
I have been listening to like some like I don't know what happened on my algorithm. It's a good thing though, but there I've been getting a lot of these like there's like this British sounding like maybe like mid 40s white dude who's just like really into it's like a physicist of some sort and like just like the whole like space time is so crazy, dude. Like the way like and like I never understood the speed of light the way this guy was like explaining it.
Mhm.
He says for us to witness a photon leaving the sun and arriving on Earth,
Yeah,
it's an 8 minute experience for us, but it's instantaneous for light.
yeah,
Even though there is technical travel time, light doesn't experience time because when you're moving at the speed of light, time doesn't impact you.
Right.
There is no time that's happening. So like the photon literally leaves the sun and is on my face.
Yeah.
But from my perspective,
But
it takes 8 minutes for that photon to arrive to my
and,
face.
well, and what's crazy about it is how it's also simultaneously still on the sun and in between and
And
everywhere else.
yeah, it exists in every possible reality
And
before
yeah,
arriving wherever it arrives.
yeah,
It's so wild. I've always known the speed of light is fast, but like it's so crazy that like something traveling at the speed of light does not experience time,
you
at
know,
least the same way that
faster Superman, which is coming out soon. I'm sorry.
I'm excited for that. I keep seeing the Zack Snyder fanboys like hating on it all over, but like every little bit more I see of it, the more excited I get for
Me
it.
too.
So
I can't wait for this movie. I'm sorry. I was just like, we should probably get to the show.
yeah, we need to get to
Superman.
the show.
Anyway, speaking of, this is actually a comic book making show, so let's get into it. So, all right. Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
Every week, my best friend Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles and troubles that life throws our way in order to get something done. We like to take all of our issues and we just drag them into the woods and feed them to the Sasquatch.
Mhm.
We
And
give our
those issues do not try to leave because of the implication.
the implications. So, but every week we try our best to overcome all of the distractions and nonsense that that we have to deal with, just like everyone else, and we try to do whatever we can toward making our goals of being like
Mm.
comic book creators and storytellers professionally a reality. We want that to be our life, right? Steven, how'd you do this week? How are you feeling?
Did not succeed, good sir.
Oh!
I
Did you get anything done?
page eight is completely done, and page
Oh,
nine is I didn't. That's one thing I will say. I still feel like shit because I don't do what I keep trying to set out to do.
yes.
But I have not had a single week where I'm not doing anything. I
That's
always make sure to like put as much work as I can, especially because this is like the pay thing. So,
yes.
but
So Steve and I have been working on a supernatural, it's a vampire action erotic horror comedy thing called Bloodlust. It's a book that we were hired to create. We were basically just told we were given like carte blanche of the world, and the producer was kind of like, make a sexy vampire book, and we were like, "Pff, we got you.
we got you.
So we made this like fun piratey adventure vampire book, and then with witches and all this stuff. Steven, I only have 1.5 characters left to color on page 7, and then I'm done.
Oh, that's amazing. Eight
Yeah.
is uploaded.
Heck yeah.
Um,
So this
send
week
those send those back to my folder too, so that way on days where I'm like
you can,
kind of
yeah.
struggling, I can shade because like
Oh,
shade
yeah.
that way you can balloon too. So
Yeah,
that way
sure.
it's just I
That
mean you can
sounds
balloon now if you wanted to,
yeah.
but
So awesome. I'm glad we got something done. Like I was able to get some stuff done. You were able to get some stuff done. That's good. I feel good about it. Not every, we're not going to be super successful every week, but I think we're like, we're a perfect example that like just taking a couple of steps in the right direction goes a long way over
just
time.
keep moving because eventually it happens. I want it to happen faster,
I
but
know.
yes.
Me too. I find myself like I've been spiraling lately, and I'm trying really hard not to. Like I've been spiraling really hard of like, I need to like make a movie, and I want to publish my book, and I want to get back to Deathless, and I find myself doing that. And I'm like, wait, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Calm
I
down.
do that too, man, because it's like what happens is your brain's like it starts off like so joyous. It's like I'm gonna work on this today, and then your brain's like, oh, that's nice. You still have like so much to do though, bro. Like you are so behind on
Oh,
everything that if you don't get even if you get this page done, who gives a shit? Like that's like literally what my brain's been doing to me. I'm like, you're right, but I can't listen to you because standing still is gonna be so much
you're
worse.
not wrong, man. You're an asshole. It's like that's exactly how it feels, dude. My brain is a nightmare sometimes, and I just like a big part of it for me is like the money stuff. We're still like in that like whole
That too. And I try. I'm like carrying that a little bit too. Like I do feel like, man, I need to get this project done so that way that's a big
yeah.
paycheck, and then we can jump back onto Deathless 3, and then that's
As soon as
or
yeah,
Deathless 4.
that's the
Sorry.
hope. Yeah, Deathless 4. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna get Bloodlust, we're gonna get a paycheck from that, and then we're gonna get to Deathless 4. We get to launch our Kickstarter. Hopefully, that's the most successful one yet. I mean, it's up to you guys. Hopefully, you all want Deathless 4. If you haven't read our previous book, Deathless, it's a supernatural superhero culty comedy comic. It's a D&D inspired action comedy book about a nerd who basically has to fight his friends to save the world. And I think it's pretty funny. People seem to like it every time they give it a chance. If you want to check it out, you can find it on wehaveissuespodcast.com. Steven, I'm excited to get back to this book. I do think it's going to be
I am too. I'm like excited to draw the rest of that book too.
yeah.
Because there's gonna be a lot of cool shit that happens in that one, and then even crazier cool shit that happens in issue 5. So
Oh, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to just like get it out.
I think my first order of business after wrapping Bloodlust will be to do the cover for issue 4 for you, so that way you can
Yes.
start
I
promotions for
think
the
that's
Kickstarter.
yeah, I think
I think
that's
that makes the most sense.
yeah, for sure, dude. So we had a super long cold open, so I figure we'll keep it short. So I want to do a quick kind of pitches get stitches for you.
Ooh, it's a quick pitches get stitches. That's the theme song. 'Cause it's quick.
It's a theme song. The theme song. So every once in a while, I just have like this random idea for like a movie or a book or something that just pesters me. It lives in
Eats
my
my
brain
soul.
until I say the thing, and I just need to tell someone. So this is that. It's funny, like Steven, I noticed that sometimes there are ideas where I'm like, I need to really make this. I need to make it to feel fulfilled, and sometimes I just need to just type it or say the idea or just be like, okay, that's out of me. I don't know
Put it
what
into reality, throw it
put
out
it
into the world, let some Hollywood exec like
like.
telepathically absorb your idea and create it again. But
It
like
happens all the time.
happens
And
all the
probably
time.
happen with this if I don't do something with it. But I will say so. Every once in a while, I'll just like tell one of these ideas, and we'll talk about it for a second. So here we go. Steven, you know when people in high school, like young people, usually in their early 20s or like teenagers, like they make those pacts because they think like 30 is old and they're like,
Hmm.
"Ugh, if we get to 35 and we're both single, we should just get married." You know those kind of pacts that people
Yes,
make, those
Robin and Ted had that pact in How I Met
exactly.
Your Mother. Yeah.
Exactly. That situation, everybody knows it, right? So I like the idea, okay, of a couple who's about to get married, right? The girl just had her birthday. They're like excited to get married in a week. And they're just like planning, they're at the last minute, like, getting everything together. It's like, about a week before the wedding. And suddenly there's a knock on the door. And
Uh-oh.
let's just say it's
I kind of have an idea where this is
so
going.
yeah, there's a knock on the door, and this man opens the door and he the groom to be is just like, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, I'm here to see Katie, or whatever. And he's confused. He's like, who? Okay, okay. He's like, Katie, like someone's here for you. So she comes up, and it turns out it's this guy who she knew in freaking high school that they made this like joke, like promise that they were gonna get
17 years ago or whatever it was.
17, yeah, whatever it was, 20 years ago, whatever it was, we were gonna get married, and if we were both 35, and it was my birthday yesterday, or today's my birthday, he's like, today's my birthday, so, and she's like, happy birthday, and it's just like awkward, and
We
she's
were
like,
kids,
we
bro.
were
It
kids,
was
bro,
like a
yeah.
thing that we do to like make ourselves feel like we have control of our existence and
So
things
like,
like that.
but I think it would be really funny if it was just one of those situations where he's like, "Oh, yeah, I just thought it would be funny. I'm so stupid. I thought it was just gonna be like this funny joke. I was in town for like there's this reunion and she's just like, "Oh no, it is funny. I thought you were like I didn't mean anything. I'm like high strung because of the wedding." And he's like, "No, oh, you're getting married?" And like he doesn't know, and he kind of like gets into their relationship a little bit, and starts like, "Oh, I can help. I'm ordained, and I'm and
Inserts himself.
he inserts himself into the relationship. And he starts saying like, "Oh no, I know how stressful it is. My cousin just got married, blah blah blah." And so he starts like trying to help, but really he's sabotaging their wedding, trying to get himself
To ensure his deal
in.
is fulfilled.
Exactly. And I like, but I wanted to like start as kind of like this awkward, like weird, silly situation. It's kind of cringy, but weird. But you kind of see like, okay, yeah, they're trying to just kind of be like amicable. They're like, we don't want
Hmm.
to, like they're kind of like pacifying,
He
but
was a friend. I don't want to be
yes,
rude.
they don't
I
want to be
did.
hurt. But of course, he turns out it kind of takes like a cable guy, but like
Hmm.
turned up a notch twist where like he starts actually like he captures the guy, like kidnaps the groom,
Ooh.
and he's just like, no, this is your bachelor party, and he like takes him out, and he's and it's all this. So like the groom is literally about to get murdered, and the bride realizes what's happening. So she's like, where would he go? And it's like maybe he went to where we had our first kiss, so like she like has to chase him down.
Tracks all those like memories and
Yes, and she's going through all these memories and like me like there's so many things you could do with this idea, and I love the idea that like she has to save her husband and like maybe ends up killing this guy or just like doing like stopping him one way or another,
depending on the genre of movie, you just go
depending
one
on
or
how dark the movie gets. Yeah, but it would be called Save the Date.
save the. That's good. I like that. That's awesome though. But
Yeah,
like I can see how like and you could literally play that idea as light or as
yes,
dark as you
I
want. Like
know.
you really could.
That's
It
what it
could
makes
literally just be a silly comedy like
it.
from early 2000s comedy, or it could be like it's a horror movie and it ends with her like, as the
Literally
bride
killing
to
this
be.
man
Yeah.
yeah, like soaked in what, yeah, like I love that. I love the idea of it. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm gonna say I will sell out 100%. If you want to buy this movie, I will write it in any genre, any genre you want. However, I do think it would be so much fun to watch the like dip,
Progression.
like the progression into that, like, oh my God, like she has to violently fight this guy, and like now it's like it went from being like silly tense to like seriously tense, and then it's like at the end they're getting married and everything. That's fine,
Hmm.
Um,
And
but
the
yeah, I
hand
don't.
comes
Yeah, his head goes. He catches the bouquet. He's like, I'm next.
I'm next. He looks at like the maid of honor or whatever. And hey, when you're 50 and we're
Hey,
still
hey, you
single.
guys get divorced and you're Oh my God. Yeah, but that's the idea. Let us know what you
Save
think
the
below.
date.
Let us know if you want to see Save the Date. If it's something, I think it is something that I'd like to write at some point because it sounds fun. It's probably not going to be, I have so many other ideas that are probably
We
more.
have plenty of projects in
I will
between.
say that video that is pretty filmable. Like
Absolutely. You
it's
just need a
pretty like
few bodies like of people to like fill like, like
yeah, and
wedding situations or something like that. Just film it at your wedding.
I was
Like get the wedding shots
get the
at your
wedding shots.
wedding.
Yeah, yeah, we'll just have the photographer. So speaking of that, before we like go, dude, the reason I was thinking about Bigfoot this week is because we got our engagement pictures back, which they look beautiful, by the way. I really
They
love
do.
them. They're
I've
really
been seeing the random inserts.
so I just had the idea. I was like, we're out in the woods in these pictures. It would be very funny to just like Photoshop Bigfoot into them. And like at first I was thinking like, okay, maybe I should do it where people are really like, oh my God, what is that in the background?
And then they like really look at it and
And they have to really look at it. But like it occurred to me, I was like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be the person who's like faking things, but I do want to Photoshop Bigfoot into the background. So I started doing it like,
I need to make it clear enough to people so people
yeah,
don't think I'm looking for attention, but
yeah.
also like, yeah.
It's like it's a fun thing to do. It's not like I'm not trying to fool anyone, but it's like it is very silly. But I love doing that, dude. So that's what led me to like
But
researching Bigfoot.
absolutely. I can see where like actually like save the date too. Like it's like
Yeah,
very tethered to this theme.
yeah. I'm just like oh my God, yeah. We actually got all of our wedding decorations now.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, KTA just like went and she decorated the entire table and like so we can see what the guests are going to like.
What the table would look
Yeah, what
like.
it's gonna look at. It's nice. It's really cool to see. And she did such a good job. It's I don't know. It's amazing. But otherwise, dude. All right. So let's at the end of every episode, we always talk about what we're gonna do next. So what are you doing this week?
My goal is to finish this issue of Bloodlust so that way I can push to Deathless. Obviously not super realistic, but that really is my goal.
Yeah.
I'm on page 9, so I need 5 more pages beyond that, which is crazy, but I did it before with Bloodlust 1.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna push as hard as I can to
Yeah.
finish this. That's my goal.
I mean, it sounds like we're no matter what, we're probably 2.5 weeks out. Like
Yeah.
I'm saying, like at the most, we're probably like two and a half.
Chris texted me. He said in 2 weeks they're gonna do the pre-sale. So
Oh,
I
awesome.
think we're at a good
We're
distance
at a
in the
really good
book,
time. Yeah.
but it's also gonna ignite a fire under me to like push harder too to finish it. So I'm sure that
Yeah.
should be good. Yeah. So they're gonna do the pre-sale in 2 weeks. So I mean I want to make sure we have everything, but we do
Yeah.
basically because you've been
Yeah.
staying up on it. So
Dude, I'm super excited
and
for
I know
it.
you balloon really quick now.
Yeah,
So
I've gotten really good. Like I have my system like down,
yeah.
so it's really cool. So yeah, this week I'm going to finish all color page 8 that you send
Hmm.
me, and then I'll start ballooning. That's my
And
plan.
let me know because I did grayscale the ocean
Yeah.
behind like bait and all that on that page. So let me know if that's like if it affects your coloring at all. Just
Okay.
let me know because I can just send you one without the grayscale basically is
Oh,
what I'm
you know
saying.
what? I should mention to you. The only thing that is hard for me to like work around is like when since the panels are white outlined, you're probably gonna have to redo those white outlines or
So what
like
I figure that happens
yeah.
because I always save that layer separate anyway, and
Okay.
then
Okay, good.
usually how I color is I literally just drop your flats on top of my already existing
Yeah.
pages.
Okay, good, good. I figured that was the case. I'm just
It's just I knew like with the night sky I wanted to do white. I know I could have left it black, but I needed white to
oh,
see myself, you know.
it
So
looks
the
cool.
same thing with this new page, I colored I want the panels to ultimately be white, but I actually colored the panels navy blue so that way you can
Yeah.
figure out like around it. But yeah, just know I always have the panels on a
Okay.
separate layer, so I can just put them on top of the whole
Cool.
document
That's yeah.
afterwards.
I
It's
figured
not
it
a
was
problem.
simple.
It'll
Okay.
overlap everything. It'll overlap your colors, whatever I need it to overlap. That's awesome. It looks so good with the flags are red too. That's even
Yeah,
cooler.
I went with the red. I like I I'm trying to stick with like some traditional or like some cool pirate stuff, you know? Like
Yeah.
and I'm keeping the whole crew kind of similar, like in a similar tone as if they are like
Yeah.
part of a cadre, you know, or whatever.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's a good looking book. It's way better than, you know, it has any right to be for what it
Yeah,
is,
for what
really.
it is.
But
Drawing mermaid. I'm drawing mermaid boobs now, so
Heck yeah, get them. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of our show. If this is your first ever episode, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and comment below for the algorithm. It really does help us. We're not a big channel, so we could really benefit from any amount of shares or letting anyone know. But we really mostly just want to tell you that we freaking appreciate you. We're thankful
we
for you.
love you.
Yeah, we love the heck out of everyone who watches this show because we know that everyone's inundated with endless content and whatever, and it's just there's no shortage of other things to watch and spend your time on. So the fact that you chose us means freaking everything, and we are thankful for you every single
We
week.
are
Um,
very much so.
Steve, is there anything else you want to say that I might have missed?
No, we're good. My wife caught a shiny 100%
Yes. Oh,
Zacian at GoFest this weekend, which is awesome for her.
no, it's freaking
I
awesome.
already had a perfect Zacian going into GoFest, but hers is shiny, so it's cooler than mine.
So what Steven's saying is everyone go contact Tina and let her know that that belongs to Steven now. That's so wait, Steven, so like how big of a deal is this that Tina got
It's
this?
it's pretty huge. I mean, like it's super. I mean, like for example, like Zacian, we probably did like over 100 raids of him. So, I mean, like a lot. And
Yeah,
she, like I said, she got it while we were eating Chili's, and it was a remote raid, and she
I
got
love
it.
that.
It's
Oh
we
my
were just enjoying Chili's, and like like because our kids weren't there, and we were just enjoying each other's company, and then bam, she got it. And she didn't even because like usually like if you play Pokemon Go enough, like especially with the raids, the CP, the number that they have, you already know if they're perfect. Because like I know like 2188 was gonna be perfect if you got a Zacian. But she was so excited that it was shiny that she didn't notice the number. So then when she caught it and she looked at the stats, then she got to see that it was also perfect, and she just was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" I'm like, "That is crazy." It's the most powerful Pokemon in the game right now, too.
what? Oh
At
my
the
God.
moment, because it got its like crown form, so she literally has like the best raid attacker slash best like all the things. Like it's
Oh,
just
freaking yeah.
the number one Pokemon in the game, and she has the perfect shiny version of it. So
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
yeah, it's really cool.
Everyone, congratulate Tina in the comments. If you made it this far in the episode, make sure you say like like go Tina or what something in the comments that's nice for Tina.
Drop that Tina be awesome love.
Heck yeah, Tina be awesome. Hashtag Tina be awesome. She is incredible.
Gen Xena.
Jen Cena. We need to have Tina back on the show. We have to have like a four, just all four
A
of us.
four-way.
Four-way.
He's getting
Even I
dark.
didn't say it. I stopped myself. See how mature I am. Speaking of, let's do it. We have to. Maybe we'll talk to Sean and do a live show soon.
And maybe even just do something with Don't Make It Weird soon too. We got a lot of stuff to do, Anthony.
We really do. All right, dude. But thank you all again. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you. And we hope you see you next week. Until then, I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next week.
Oh crap, I don't have a boom. I had a boom last week, but we didn't do a boom last week.
boom
We
last
didn't
week.
do a boom last week. That's the boom this week.
That's a boom this week.
Boom, boom, boom. Can't bring back the hymn yet. Boom, 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 boom. When now, yeah, there's like this weird like triple loading situation where it's like you load, then my video shows me a second, then it asks me to approve something, then I hit OK, and then it
So much
finally
foreplay. It's so weird.
it's
Like,
literally,
I
you
guess
know, and
at
I
first,
am
when
a
you first do
man,
it, you're nervous, so you just kind of hop right into the main
I'm
event.
a huge fan of the foreplay, but like not this kind of foreplay,
That's this
Zoom.
kind
Just
of
put it right in me, okay?
thing. Put it right
Just
in
go.
your That's noted. Um, uh, how's life, dude? What's up?
Busy as hell and
Yeah.
miserable,
Oh,
but I'm still being a trooper. I'm still,
awesome.
and I have 3 days off this weekend, so like
Okay.
my goal, like legitimately, because Friday, I think Friday we're going to, because it's 4th of July.
Right.
Happy birthday, America. Um, my, I think we're going to Eddie's that evening, and then Saturday is obviously D&D Saturday evening at your hizzy this
Yep.
time around. And then Sunday we want to try to do something for my mom because her birthday was the 22nd.
Right.
But I should have huge chunks, and my honest goal is to just finish all of Bloodlust in those 3 days, so that way I can just be done with it, dude.
That's gonna be
I
awesome. Can't wait.
I did get a pretty awesome panel layout for Bait and the two mermaids on him
Oh,
as he's getting ripped out
nice.
of the water.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty. I like it. I just got to put a lot of detail into it. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, so that is not my. We can discuss that later. But
Yeah.
yeah, my goal with this 3 day weekend, because like, dude, it's just been so hard with work, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's getting so hot and it's
Dude,
so miserable and
it's insane. I mean, it's been so crazy hot outside that like, I've been wearing like I'll put shorts on, which I don't wear shorts. Like I've been
Mhm.
putting shorts on and a t-shirt and I'm like, all right, Atlas, let's go outside and ride a bike. And we both are just like, what is this violence?
It's so,
Like,
dude.
what is
I
happening?
literally come home and I probably look like a shell shocked soldier. Like I'm
Yeah,
literally just
100%.
like my body's just
Yeah.
like
I,
the Rick and Morty scene when they in and out we'll be done in 5 minutes.
there
It's
is,
that after
yeah.
work every day. It's just like, but yeah. So it's miserable. We know this happens in summer, but I gotta do it. Otherwise, I gotta keep doing it. So either way, it's like I think that's the hardest part about it is it's a snake eating its tail, where it's like I want to do the thing, but I'm so defeated.
Yeah.
But then I wake up the next day and I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
Doing
It's
If I don't
just
do, yeah, yeah, it's
so
always like that. I mean,
it is.
it's so hard to like keep the energy up, especially in that situation. Was there anything else you would definitely want to talk about this week?
Um, I can talk just for if there is anyone that is a Pokemon Go fan. Tina and I did Go Fest this weekend, and Tina got like just this is between because I'll say it later if we do talk about it. Tina got the shiny perfect stat of the legendary of GoFest. So like she got
Okay,
like we're talking
best
like point
possible,
zero zero zero
possibly
zero
do.
one
Yeah,
percent
yeah, yeah.
chance. And
Oh,
she got it, and she was, dude. Like when those things happen, the thing is I'm not like the jealous type. Even though Pokemon's my
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
I get so excited for her
yeah.
whenever like something like that happens. And
Yeah.
it's just so awesome. But
But
anyways,
also, she's a monster, and it's
she's
mine. You're gonna give me this
But
nice.
like, dude, just we were actually at a Chili's when it happened, and she was just so happy, dude. Like, I mean, you're already at Chili's, things are already going great, and then that
Oh,
happens. So,
that's
but anyway,
love that. All right. All right. So I have a quick cold open thing I want to do.
awesome. Is like one of the death things too.
Yeah, it's not a death thing.
Oh, okay, but it's
I
still
want
a
to keep
weird case of some sort.
it's a weird situation, but I'm gonna keep it lighter just to do it. Steven,